I thought that was a very unique pick.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey,
as you can see,
it's award show.
by our
We're
very
dressed up, dressed
formal
fancy.
attire, it is award week at the Picks Podcast.
It's the awards.
I'm super excited for this episode. This is always my favorite time of year. Well, I gotta say, like last year.
This is absolutely the worst time of the year
What?
in terms of everything other than the Super Bowl.
What do you mean?
It's so cold. It's gross. There's like football's about to end, which is sad. This is not. We're about to enter the worst part of the year, which is post Super Bowl. This is like the pregame before the worst part of the year.
This
is not the best part of the year. Big news.
Don't rain on my parade. All right, I'm very excited. I've had a long day. I had to get this recap up so everybody could follow along as we're talking here, so I wouldn't sound like a crazy person. Be like, go see my recap. It's live. It's live on Instagram, and it's just not there. It is there at Picks_NFL if you want to check that out. The reason I say this is my favorite time of the year, Kyle, is because this is always my favorite post to make. I love reflecting, looking at what we did. You went back and looked at our first podcast. What was our predictions and how did our predictions pan out for the year? It's always fun to reflect. And I thought this year would be a little bit more formal about it. We got our suits and ties. Of course, we're still keeping it football themed though. Where are they? There we go. Philadelphia Eagles tie. Eagles tie. Pink's a good. Yo, we should get a pink.
Pink's a good color.
Colored football team. I think that'd be fun. But no, this is the Picks Podcast, the penultimate episode of this season. We only got one more show after this.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
For 2025 NFL season. That's
we'll be back in the off season.
Get my Tuesdays back.
I know, we'll get our Tuesdays back. It'll be.
Get my Tuesday night back.
I'll level. Level with everyone. It's a lot of work to work a 9 to 5 and I'm really into cooking. I do a lot of cooking, so I spend a lot of my time preparing meals and stuff, and then just normal life stuff, and then on top of that to do all of this every week and have oodles of graphics. But I like being prepared. I'm not gonna lie, I like doing it. I wouldn't be doing it if I didn't like it. So but it is a lot, and at the off season I just kick my feet up and I'm like, oh my gosh, just time to relax, time to focus on me, time to do other things besides football, because Kyle and I, we got to be up to date on everything football. If there's football going around in the earwaves and the talk and the sound waves, we got to know about it. All right. I guess that's a great segue for this week in football. It's mostly just coaching news. It's really just all coaching news. But there are some major changes going on in the landscape of all the coaching. Kyle, the New York Jets are back in the headlines. So I guess because we missed Tuesday. So last Tuesday, I guess this was during the last podcast we had. So Aaron Glenn fired 7 assistants. He also fired the offensive coordinator, Tanner Engstrom, on Tuesday, which made no sense to me because he literally waited 23 days after the season ended to start the search for a new OC, which is just crazy to me. And then one day after interviewing for the job, for the DC job,
yeah, they hired interim coach Frank Wright
for OC. They hired the OC.
No, he's the interim head coach for the New York Jets.
You're making a pun here. You think Aaron Glenn's gonna get fired?
Yeah,
I see what you mean. I mean, it's on the table.
Yep.
So they hired.
I don't know. You don't fire all your staff halfway through if you're that confident in the coach.
Yeah. So today the Jets have hired Frank Reich as their next OC. I personally think this is a great hire. Former Panthers and Colts head coach. Didn't really work out there, but he did win the Super Bowl 52 with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017. Goodness, I can't speak.
That was almost 10 years ago.
It's just crazy to me.
So I think that the NFL changes all the time. I don't know if this is necessarily a good hire, but I think as an interim head coach, I think he's going to do fine.
I think if they bring in somebody who's established at the quarterback position, I think they'll be just fine. But that's yet to be seen. They got a lot of off-season stuff to do.
They really don't have.
But then they hired this guy Brian Duker. Brian Duker, I think his name is. So he was the passing game coordinator and the secondary coach, right? So he interviews for the DC job, and then one day after interviewing, he gets the job. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because he was on Aaron Glenn's staff in Detroit for a number of years. He was the safeties coach, he was the defensive backs coach. I think Glenn is likely to call plays on defense, but I think it's kind of a little sus that he gave his friend the job. I don't know. Aaron Glenn has been an odd hire so far, to say the least.
Yeah, I think he's fine.
I have very mixed opinions, but just like the whole thing with him, like, oh, we're not going to bench Justin Fields, and then a week later proceeds to bench Justin Fields, and then he's like yelling at the media in his press conferences and like yelling at people. He's like, "What do you want me to do?" Like, it just doesn't seem like the tenure is going to last that long, which has kind of been par for the course for coaches in New York. So
yeah,
I think, well, at least with the offense, I think they're headed in the right direction. Defense, we'll have to see. I don't know if Glenn was calling the plays on defense last year. I just don't know.
Their defense also wasn't very good, and honestly, was he really that good as a defensive coordinator in Detroit?
He knew where to play guys, if that makes sense. So, like, Detroit had a lot of injuries, but I feel like he did a pretty good job of plugging with the talent that he had around him. But they just traded, like, all of their defense. Like, they traded Quinnen, they traded Sauce. Like, those are and then they tried to trade, they benched what's his name? The young guy. I can't think of his name right now. The other Williams?
Yeah,
the linebacker. Yeah, it was somebody.
I know what you're talking about, but he's on the Jets. So who cares? Ayo.
It's a fair point. We'll see how the Jets turn out. I think the Jets have a lot of interesting decisions to make going forward. Speaking of,
congrats on interim head coach Frank Reich.
I guess speaking of the Jets, in the same vein, the Cleveland Browns have a new head coach. Todd Monken will be the next head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Interesting.
Apparently, Kyle, he had the best essay, according to what I heard.
That's what I heard
Todd
too.
Monken, so he was the.
Also love how they were like, oh, we need to hire someone that's going to keep Jim Schwartz, and then Jim Schwartz was like, you didn't hire me as head coach. I'm leaving.
Like, what's up with that? Yeah, so he was supposed to be the coach.
Well, I think he got hired by the Niners.
I'll take your word for it. I didn't see that. I didn't have time to prepare. But
either way, I'm just gonna confirm. But yeah, the whole thing I heard, it was like they were telling coordinators like you have, like, head coach candidates being like, you have to keep Jim Schwartz, and then Jim Schwartz was all like, "Bro, I need to be what's it called? Where the hell did he go? He was the defensive coordinator for the
Jim Schwartz.
49ers. I could have sworn I saw him got hired by the Niners. He's been heavily linked, but he has not been hired yet.
I heard that he still might come back. But I know that Todd Monken was very, like, at least in the press conference, he was like, I did not take this job because of Jim Schwartz. He was very adamant about that in his press conference.
Yeah.
So, little history for Todd Monken. So, he was the OC in Cleveland in 2019 under Freddie Kitchens, and then left after 1 year to join the Georgia Bulldogs, where he won 2 natties with Kirby Smart. Go Dogs. So, his new OC is going to be Travis Switzer. He's going to join him. Look, I think this is an okay hire. I mean, bottom line, any coach that gets hired by Cleveland is going to be asked to move the world. So, I don't really think I don't think a great coach is necessarily going to move the needle for the Browns at this point. I do like the history they have, but then again, it's like we've bashed the Browns how many times for being just a completely dysfunctional organization, which is true. I mean, they totally are. Like any franchise that gets rid of Baker Mayfield for Deshaun Watson, there's something wrong with them, in my opinion. So I don't know. I think the jury's still out. I like the history, I guess, that he's got with Cleveland, but I don't know. I don't have a strong opinion about it either way. Kyle,
did you see the breaking news about the Eagles?
I was going to talk about that next. I guess I can get all of the Eagles news, because there was a lot of Eagles news this week, and it culminated today in just not a good thing. But they finally found their offensive coordinator, which I don't think we've talked about this yet, Kyle. So I'm interested to get your thoughts. They've hired Packers quarterback coach Sean Mannion to be their next head offensive coordinator. I'm pretty mum about this hire. I personally wanted experience. I wanted somebody who has had experience calling plays before, who's been well established in the National Football League. Mannion's only been a coach for 2 years, and he hasn't called plays yet. It just seems like all of the good hires didn't want to coach here. I don't know why that was the case, but it seems to be an issue. I know that Sirianni was very, how should you say, very excited to get Sean in the building and start, culminating with him. Now, the thing is, I actually liked the team's passing game coordinators. So they hired Josh Grissom. I don't know if you saw that.
I did see that.
He was the Bucs OC for a number of years with Baker. I like that more than the actual offensive coordinator. I would have rather had Josh Grissom be the OC, to be honest. I really would have. And that's only because he's had experience calling plays with a quarterback who's like in Jalen's ballpark. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I'm kind of mum on the whole thing, but you tell me, like, how are you feeling about this hire?
I liked it. I know obviously our main guys that I wanted Dable and obviously McDaniels. I think once it was kind of clear that they weren't going to be able to get them, I think they widened their search by a lot wider margin. From what I looked at before he was hired, he was someone I liked. I was intrigued. I think he's young. I think it's like a risky hire. We'll see what happens though. I'm excited. But at the same time, like, I got to see something because he hasn't called plays before. But I'm intrigued with his background. Obviously, he hasn't coached for very long, but he has been in the league for a long time. He's been under obviously the Shanahan tree, McVay, and stuff like that. So I'm hopeful, but we'll see.
Yeah, and like I guess the one thing I am hopeful for is that he was a career backup and he was in the league for like probably the better part of 10 years. And when you think about it, right, if you're a career backup, that's essentially like head coaching experience. You're basically working with the offensive coordinator, working with the quarterback's coach on a daily basis. You're not seeing a lot of action, but you're getting that coach, you're getting that side of the ball. So you're basically prepping for it when you think about it. And then we got the scare earlier this week that Vic Fangio was going to retire. And I was like, oh my God, that would be the worst thing in the world. Then today, Jeff Stoutland, the longtime 13-year offensive line coach, revolutionary for the tush push, retired.
No, I haven't. I KB Grapevine coming in. Have not heard official retirement news.
I have.
And all the statements just say that he is leaving Philadelphia. The word retirement has not been mentioned on any official
the point
statements.
Is he's leaving Philly. He's not going to be the Eagles coach.
He is leaving Philly, but he is not retiring. He's not confirmed retiring, according to KB Grapevine. It's a developing story. I will say KB Grapevine, I think he wanted to leave because I think that with the new hire at OC, I think they're trying to implement more ideas into the offense. Jeff Stoutland, as great as an O-line coach as he was, the one big knock on him, I guess, and in general, the Eagles organization, I guess coaching staff as a whole, is their lack of motion in the modern NFL. The Eagles have low-key been probably one of the least motion action-heavy teams, especially in the run game. And honestly, the run game this year wasn't too great.
No, it wasn't.
Like last year, obviously, it was phenomenal. And I think that was mainly just because the O-line just played phenomenal. And then this year, obviously, the O-line regrets, I think mainly due to injuries, but the run game was not the same. And like you look at teams that had really great run games, like Shanahan, obviously, with McCaffrey. Granted, their run game wasn't that great, but in general, the point stands. Then also, like, you obviously got the Dolphins with Achane in the motion. And then I think the Falcons use a decent bit of motion, too, with Bijan. So I think they're just moving to a more modern philosophy, which is great. And I think Stoutland is a great O-line coach, but I think as the run game coordinator, I think it might be a little outdated, and maybe it is a little time for a change. And I think that's why. I think they were going to try moving more to focus more on the O-line, and he didn't want to do that.
I think you've talked me off a ledge. I think your reasoning is very sound. And I do tend to agree with you, right? I'd like to believe, at least, I'd like to believe that the shortcomings of the Eagles' run game this year was mostly due to injuries, because they were very banged up for most of the year.
Yeah.
I'm just like reading Stoutland's statement. He's like, when I arrived here in 2013, I did not know what I was signing up for. I quickly learned what the city demands, but more importantly, what it gives. The past 13 years have been a great privilege to my coaching career. I didn't just work here; I became one of you. Apparently, what I'm also reading is that they wanted him back, according to a league source. It sounded like this was Stoutland's decision to step away. So I guess in that right, if he's not really like, hey, this is his decision to leave, we don't really want you as the run game coordinator anymore. We kind of just want you to focus on the O-line. He's like, nah, I'm out. Because he's probably going to get a job somewhere, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Or either that or maybe he'll get a year off.
I imagine his football career is not over.
Yeah, if he's not retiring, he'll get a job.
So it's definitely a big knock for the Eagles, but I feel like that culture, because they've had a really good O-line for really the past 13 years, really since Stoutland's got there. They feel like year in and year out, they've had a really good offensive line. So I feel like that culture at least has been established. And as long as they can continue to build on that, I'm not like jumping ship. Obviously, it is unfortunate, right? The founder of our great tush push is now gone. But it will live on as long as, 2/3 of the league doesn't vote against it this offseason. We'll have to see.
Maybe it won't get voted against because the Eagles are bad.
Maybe no, but remember, it was the whole ploy to officiate it poorly.
No, there's the whole thing that they officiated poorly so they could get back into ban it. Also, the other thing too is like we've said this all year, but like the Eagles' run and pass tells were so obvious.
I know.
And I think it's just the fact that the run game and the passing game weren't married, and like obviously with Stout trying like running the run game separately than Petullo's passing game. But I like to think that obviously I'm doing an optimistic view. Obviously, worst case scenario is the Eagles fall apart and Sirianni's fired, which could happen. I'm not saying that it's not a possibility. It's on the table. That would suck, but it is. But in a perfect scenario, maybe they're adapting to a more modern offense, and they do look awesome next year. That'd be great. That's the dream.
Speaking of Eagles, former Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, recently the Arizona Cardinals head coach, now fired, has been named the defensive coordinator for the Packers. So they lose, what was it, Jeff Hafley, right, to the Dolphins.
Jeff Hafley to
Jonathan
the Dolphins.
Gannon takes over. I mean, how is that not a great replacement? I feel like that's such a good replacement for the Packers.
Yeah.
No,
I hate Jonathan
I
Gannon,
don't like him as a.
I wish he went to the Cowboys over than the.
Nah, dude, they need to keep Matt Eberflus. Well, no, they fired him, but who'd they get? Oh, they got our boy.
No, they hired what's
Christian
his
Parker.
name?
That's right.
They got our boy Christian Parker. And then there was the Vic Fangio rumors.
Yeah, I know.
Why do you leave Christian Parker leave the
building? I know. Like, that was actually very concerning. But apparently Fangio is staying.
Vic Fangio almost did a Gannon with the time.
He's staying as far as I know. As far as I know, he's staying.
Yes, he is staying. The KB Grapevine is very confident that he is staying.
We've got, what else we got? I got a few more here. The Giants have their OC, so we initially thought it was going to be Todd Monken joining John Harbaugh in New York. It's not the case. It'll be Matt Nagy as the next Giants offensive coordinator. Pretty good hire. I don't know. I mean, this is one of the names that was floating around Philadelphia for the position. I mean, not a good head coach, as we learned from his tenure in Chicago, but as an offensive coordinator, I think he's been just fine. So I think it's a pretty good hire. The Cardinals have hired Mike LaFleur as their next head coach, brother of Matt LaFleur. Currently, or was formerly, I guess, the Rams offensive coordinator. So I feel like, anybody from the McVay tree has to be at least a little good, So I don't personally know too much about Mike LaFleur other than Rams OC Sean McVay. I mean, I feel like the Rams, the whole culture is just Sean McVay at this point, and he gets a majority of the credit. So I tend to feel like anyone he brings in is typically a good hire, but I feel like Arizona's problems extend well beyond like the players and coaching. Although I know again it was a bit of an issue, but they might be in cap hell. They got to figure out the Kyler situation. So. And then finally, the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, this is not official yet, but they have agreed in principle to hire current Seahawks offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak after the conclusion of the Super Bowl as their next head coach. Let's hope they can get some stability at head coach. he's got to talk to Tom Brady. Tom Brady knows all about stability at the head coaching position. Only had 2 his entire career. I mean, what can you say about Clint Kubiak? I mean, they've had a great offense this year. The Seahawks have, and that's kind of what the Raiders need a lot, right? We know that
they need Mendoza.
They need Heisman-Doza. Yeah, so they're gonna get Heisman-Doza, and they need to draft.
I want my
oodles
so
of
bad.
Offensive linemen to protect.
Oh, yeah. Linemen, yes.
I think if the Raiders do that, they'll be pretty fine. Did I miss anything, Kyle? I didn't have time to double check this.
No, I don't think so. Nothing that important.
All right, so let's get into the season recap. So I don't think we.
Oh, you missed the Epstein file stuff, but we don't need.
Oh, with Steve Tisch. Yeah,
Steve Tisch. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of fucked up stuff in the Epstein files, which go well beyond the scope of this show. But yeah, Steve Tisch was in the Epstein files looking for women, which is just I don't know. Dude, nothing's gonna happen there. You know, nothing's gonna happen.
Not good,
right?
Yeah, Epstein files is wild. We don't need to talk about that though. It's a football show. It's messed up though.
Season recap.
He caused microtransactions and terrible.
What?
There's like emails showing that like he was talking to like the CEOs of like Call of Duty and stuff, being like, you should have microtransactions to make more money. Dude, this dude was everywhere, bro. We'll talk about it. This might be my one more thing.
Fair enough. Doesn't want to talk about the Epstein files. The Epstein files might be my one more thing. Okay. Make your mind, dude.
I gotta clear up the rumors that showed up in the last pod.
Yeah, all right. Whoa, wait, hold on. What?
Whoa.
What?
Don't you remember?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Chilling photographs, which I believe are our Dr.
Oh, my God. Yeah, you were on the island, Kyle.
I was not on the island. If I was on the island, I was just fishing for fish. I respect women. I would never do that to women.
All right, let's get into the recap before this gets any worse. Before we incriminate each other.
We gotta get
all right, so season recap. My record this year: 169, 102 and 1. That's a 62.1% winning percentage. This is all on picks_NFL right now. If you're wondering, so go follow that if you want to look along.
Ooh, wait, I'm genuinely curious. What my spread pick record?
Oh yeah, so you had talked a lot about that this year. So I am actually curious.
I talked about that.
So I did.
Oh, no, is it not available anymore?
Oh, that's tough.
No. Oh wait. Oh, I was 143 to 129 against the spread.
I don't know what the average is, so you tell me if that's good or not.
Trying to find that out. 143 divided by 272. That's 52.6%.
You're basically 50-50.
Little above 50-50 though. It's pretty good. That's pretty good.
So I was so I had 62% winning percentage. I think that's like slightly below average for me. So last year I was almost at 68%. I won 15 fewer games this year, or I picked 15 fewer games correctly this year.
Ooh.
I feel like I had a lot of peaks and valleys this year. So like my best week was week 2. I went 14-2. I mixed in a 12-2 week in week 12. Week 5 was pretty rough. I went 6-8. Where was Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving was what, week 11?
I think that's week 13.
I went 7-9. Ugh. That's not good. Yeah, it was 7-9 week 13.
Yeah, it's week 13.
That wasn't too good either. Because I got all 3 of the Thanksgiving games wrong, and I got Black Friday wrong, which was the Eagles game, which was terrible. Which we would have won the tease on if you just took my whatever. We're not gonna talk about the tease today, probably not, because very briefly. So like my best record, my winning percentage wise was 2018. That was the first year I started picking games, 68%.
So it's been downhill since
there. Last year was my second best record. So yeah,
the second best is
180.
Second only matter.
184 and 88 is really good though. I feel like that's really good.
Mm-hmm.
So 169, 102, and 1. I mean, I'm always trying to get better. There are definitely like if I go to the team by team breakdowns here, like you can see, and you called this out before we even started. Like the prime example was the Carolina Panthers. So the Panthers.
Yeah, I don't know why you're thinking
The Panthers were 8-9 this year. I picked them 12 times, and like they showed up in some of my worst picks this year. I don't know, man. I was just high. I wanted the Panthers to be so good, and by the time I realized they win every other game, it was too late. I had picked them way too many times. I wish I caught on to that pattern like earlier, you know. But I'll tell you what. I think I'm gonna be high on the Panthers next year.
So why did you highlight the ones green in the AFC that were like one game off, but not in the NFC? Is that just an error?
So what I did in the games picked to win / games picked to lose column is if I picked so like the Giants, for example, they went 4-13. I picked the Giants 4 times to win, and I picked them 13 times to lose. So like but like in the AFC, I didn't have any. Patriots, I didn't have any teams like that.
So but then you made them all green.
No, so all the teams that were within one. I don't know. I was kind of.
Those are the best, Matt.
Those
our viewers do not.
Those are the best teams.
Oh, I guess they're the best
by within one. So it just happenstance that I had a lot of games or a lot of teams within one game of each other. So yeah, I guess and then the ones that are red are the ones that I were furthest off from. And then for the picks record, obviously the best records were highlighted. The best record in each conference highlighted green, but worst records highlighted in red. So consequently, right, the Panthers, I picked them to go 12, or I didn't pick them to go 12-5. I picked them 12-5, right? I only got 7 Panther games right this whole year. So like I was way off, which makes sense, right? Which makes sense in a vacuum. I was way off with the Panthers this year. Look, I'm telling you right now, I really do think the Panthers will be a good team next year. Now, I think it's kind of unfortunate that they won the division in a year that they went 8-9, only because they have to play a first place schedule now next year. So I think it's going to be a little bit tougher for them to go and have a good year next year. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to think, right, that I'd like to think the Panthers are going to be a very competent team next year. I wouldn't be surprised if Tet goes for double-digit touchdowns. I think they got to shore up a little bit of things on the defense, but I think they had a pretty good draft overall. So we'll see. I mean, and again, Bryce Young, big question marks. He's looked really good at times. He's looked really bad at times. I think the Panthers will be okay. I'm just looking. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the teams that I had good records for, like the Cardinals,
were bad.
They're bad. Well, I mean, yes. Like, so I only picked the Cardinals twice this year.
You just picked them to lose.
I mean, like last year, what was it? I think I was the Jaguars. I didn't pick them to win a single game last year.
Yeah.
And even this year, like with the Jaguars, I only picked them 10 times, which is even more than I thought that I would pick them. But I mean, they got so hot by the end of it. But then again, I was only 10-7 picking Jaguar games. Now this is a crazy.
You picked at least each team to win at least 2
which
games.
Which is surprising,
so
which typically I feel like the margins are kind of more skewed. Historically, at least, when I go back and look. So, like, I was really high on the Chiefs. I picked the Chiefs 12 times. They only won 6 games. Like, that's pretty crazy. I picked the Ravens 14 times, dude. 14 times.
Jesus.
14-3. They finished 8-9. And somehow I still went 11-6. Which tells you every time tells you every time I picked them to lose, they lost. I got all those games right. And then I got a lot of the wins wrong, obviously. Well, I guess 3 of the wins wrong. This is the craziest stat, though, that I can take away from all of this is the Raiders, right? So the Raiders finished 3-14. I picked them.
Ooh, what was the one game you got wrong?
I don't know what it was. It was week.
Yeah,
I was so pissed.
Was it week 1?
No. So I was putting this together, right? And I've never had an instance where I got every game right for a team. And as I was like, that's my one thing is when I go and do it, I'm like, all right, who did I get the most right? Because I just want to see. And it was between the Raiders.
You picked week 18 wrong?
I was perfect on the Raiders, and then I think I had the Colts at like 8-0. Like I was 8-0 picking Colts games through like the first 8 weeks, and then I lost a couple games. I still finished a very impressive 14-3 picking Colts games though. And considering they finished 8-9, I feel like that's a pretty good accomplishment. But I was like, I got to the Raiders, right? 11-0, 12-0, 13-0. I was like, oh my God. And then right when I got to week like 15 or 16, I realized, I was like, I picked the Chiefs in week 18.
No.
And if you remember that game, the Raiders won on a game-winning 58-yard field goal from Daniel Carlson. I was that close. If he misses that field goal, I would have had a perfect Raiders record. I was so upset. I was doing it. I'm like, oh my God, I could actually have. And then I realized, I was like, no, I picked the freaking Chiefs, man. Oh, man.
Boy.
I should have known. The game didn't matter, Kyle. I should have picked the Raiders. I would have had perfection. Oh, I don't think I could replicate that if I try. I mean, you're bound to get a couple of games wrong for like look, 14-3 for the Colts is good. 16-1 though, even though they went 13-4, like I think that's, you know, it's they went 3-14, but like at the end of the day, I feel like that's still pretty impressive to get those consistently right. Other teams that I was good on that were, you know, noticeable, I guess. Seahawks.
I mean, you have the same picks record for the Eagles.
Yes, I know, and I was gonna call that out. So obviously, Kyle picks them to go 17-0 every year. So I picked against them 4 times. I should have picked against them the one other time in the Chicago game, and I just chickened out, which I actually included on one of my worst picks. And look, the Eagles, and I made a note of this. Like objectively, that wasn't a bad pick, but I was talking so much shit about the Eagles that week. And I was so upset leading up to that game that I was like, I'm going to pick the Bears. I'm going to pick the Bears. And then I picked the Eagles. And the Bears mollywopped them. They wiped the floor with them. So I was 11-6 picking my birds. I was terrible at picking the Cowboys this year. 8-1 in Cowboy games. Terrible. I was going to say other noticeable teams. I was 11-5-1 picking the Packers game. Or Packer games. 12-5 with the Rams, 13-4 with the Seahawks, 12-5 picking the Jets. I feel like every time I picked the Jets to win, they lost, which was only 2 times, by the way. And I'm pretty sure both games. I'd have to go back and confirm this, but I'm pretty sure every time I picked each time I picked the Jets, it was against the Dolphins, and they lost both of those games. I'm pretty sure.
Classic.
I was not good at picking the Steelers. I was only 9-8 this year. 7-10 picking Charger games. That's rough. I don't know what.
Yeah, you were not. I mean, we'll get into it later, but you were not high on the Chargers going into the year.
Actually, not going into the year, but it's odd that you say that because I picked them 12 times. I picked them. I picked them 12 times, but I got a ton of the games wrong. I also was 7-10 picking Chiefs games. Obviously, I was way too high on the Chiefs. Should have faded the Chiefs a lot more, and I did include that in one of my best picks this year. I'll get to that in a minute. I do want to go through some of the superlatives that I like to do every year, including the Donut Club, which is my absolute favorite. So I actually have all of these pictures, like the MS Paint logos.
Yeah.
There was if you know what, do you know what Sporkle is, Kyle? Yeah, it's like a sports quiz website. So there was like, there was one quiz that was like, can you identify the NFL team based on me drawing it, some random dude drawing it in MS Paint. And so I clipped all of the drawings because I thought they were hilarious. I didn't know at the time what I was going to do with them, but then I started doing the Donut Club and I'm like, oh my God, that would be so perfect. So we had 6 individual teams, but 7 instances of a team putting up 0 points. One of which your boys were at.
We were in
attendance for that in week 15 in Philadelphia.
15.
The Eagles beat the Raiders 31-0. Kyle and I were in attendance. Pretty miserable game to watch, but I'm glad to say I've done
it. Yeah. Yeah. Also, fun fact: Minnesota Vikings were in the Donut Club, but then they handed the Commanders the Donut Club for 1 week.
I actually included that in one of my worst picks, right? I ended up picking the Commanders that week. Actually, fun fact about the logo for the Commanders, I actually drew that one because the guy, I think this quiz I was talking about was so old, the Commanders weren't even a football team yet. I think they were still the Redskins. So I did, and I realized like putting this together, I didn't have like a meme logo for the Commanders, so I threw that together on my phone. But I picked the Commanders that week, and I was like, look, given the circumstances, so the week prior, the Commanders had played the Broncos really close. That was actually a candidate for one of the best games this year, where they had this crazy comeback. The Broncos did.
Yeah,
Treylon Burks had one of the sickest catches this year that I've seen. And then the week prior to this game, the Vikings had put up 0 points, right? So it was a road game, whatever. Like I didn't think it was that bad of a pick. But anytime you pick a team to win, they put up 0 points, it's never a good look. So like I feel like just based off a principle, you kind of have to at least consider it, and I did consider it. It was ended up being one of my worst 10 worst picks. If I can justify one of my 10 worst picks by that logic, then I think I did pretty good this year. I'm glad to say that the other 6 instances I picked correctly, so no embarrassment there. Our Donut Club members this year were the Falcons in week 3, the Titans in week 4, the Raiders in week 7. Vikings in week 13, Commanders in week 14, and then the Bengals and Raiders in week 15. So congratulations, you guys suck.
Yay!
Moving on, we have Scorigami. It's the art of building final scores that have never happened before in NFL history. Great pastime of mine. Kyle and I are very fond of Scorigami. 4 Scorigamis this year. That would be the Ravens and Bills in week 1, 40-41. Great game, as you'll see here in just a little bit. We had the 40-40 tie in week 4 between the Cowboys and Packers. That is the second highest scoring tie.
That's another great game.
It was, and I did consider it for one of the best games, but just objectively, like, we didn't have a winner. I feel like you can't put it on the 10 best games.
Can't put a best game if there's not a winner.
I think
they called that though. We did call that at the beginning.
That there would be a tie.
I did call that there was going to be a tie. I told you guys lock it in. We're due for a tie because of the new overtime rules, and literally, we got.
I can tell you actually how many ties there have been, because I can look at my pick.
There was only one tie this entire season.
So 2018 there were 2 ties. 2019, 2020 there were each 1 tie. Nothing in 21. 2 in 22. In 23 and 24.
Nothing 23. Nothing 24. Told you guys we were due for a tie. We got it.
Other Scorigami, 44-32. That would be the Bills beating the Bucks in week 10. I actually picked the Bucks.
What a game!
Week. Unfortunately, I mean, look, that was a good game. I didn't have that as one of my best games. I didn't consider it for one of my best games this year, only because I feel like the Bills were winning a majority of that game. It really wasn't close in the second half. Like I went back and looked.
Yeah, Josh Allen just kind of did it with the bad turnovers.
And
early on, and then they took over.
And then the other Scorigami was the 36-29 victory by the Texans over the Jaguars in week.
Yeah, with Trevor Lawrence ending the game with the Turn-the-ball-Over the week.
A little cross audit, if you may, in that regard. All right, we'll get into the picks, and then I'm going to hand it over to Kyle to do his recaps of this year. So 10 best picks. I'll let you guys read through this on your own time. I'll just keep it to the top 3. So because the picks 10 through 4 I don't number. Those are just other picks. I only really number the top 3. As I hope that's clear for everybody. If it's not, now it is. So the third best pick I had this year was week 5. I took the Jacksonville Jaguars over the Kansas City Chiefs. Jaguars were at home. Jaguars won 31-28. I feel like this one was a great pick because this kind of signified, right? So Chiefs in primetime.
I had this pick as well.
I believe you did, yeah. So Chiefs in primetime, right? Week 5, I think at this point they were 2-2. They had kind of a rough start, and everyone had a bunch of question marks, but they're like, they're going to beat the Jaguars, right? The Jaguars are, number 1, they're the Jaguars. Number 2, they don't play in primetime because they're the Jaguars. And number 3, it's the Chiefs, and they went to 3 straight Super Bowls, and they're going to win this game. And I think, Kyle, you had kind of talked me off a ledge here because I was like, dude, the Chiefs, I gave you all the reasons I just outlined, and I was like, it's going to be the Chiefs, right? And you're like, dude, look at the way they're playing. They play like dog. And look at my dogs, who happen to be Jaguars. Mm-hmm. They're playing like dogs. I credit you for this a little bit for talking me into picking them, and
I didn't talk you into this. I was really high.
I'm glad I did. It was way more fun to watch that game having picked the Jaguars than it would have been if I had to root for the Chiefs that game.
The Trevor Lawrence stumble touchdown. Great.
I guess I'll get into some of the other honorable mentions real quick. I did consider picking.
I was just saying the top three.
Hold on.
They can read the rest.
There was two other that I did consider for the third spot, which was the Ravens on the road in Week 17 versus the Packers, and then the same week I took Cleveland over Pittsburgh. And the only reason I did that was because I was like, the NFL wants a meaningful game in Week 18.
The Pro Bowler Shedeur Sanders winning that game.
I forgot he got named to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, we didn't talk about that in the news.
I'll stay on this for 30 seconds.
I know we did last week.
I think Bate mentioned it.
I thought we brought it up because we talked about Belichick last week.
I think Bate had mentioned it too.
Did you see Justin Fields was asked and he said no?
Wait, what?
Justin Fields was asked to be in the Pro Bowl, and he was like, "No, I don't want to." Yeah.
All right, I think that's even less credible than Shedeur actually being in the Pro Bowl. Is asking Justin Fields to be in the Pro Bowl. I think that's way less credible.
The Pro Bowl actually was low key kind of exciting.
Did you watch it all?
I didn't watch it, but I watched
the Pro Bowl
next day.
The Pro Bowl
was pretty exciting
yesterday for anyone who caught it. The flag football and the skill competition and whatnot they do.
It's just the flag football this year.
There's no skills.
They did the skills. No, it's just the flag football game.
Number 2, second best pick of the year. I took the Houston Texans at home on a short week versus the Buffalo Bills. The Bills were 6-point favorites in this game. This was the Davis Mills-led Houston Texans, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's Davis Mills. We don't like a guy with a lot of neck." And I was like, I kind of like a lot of neck, you know. I think a better reason was I wasn't really sold on the Bills at this point. They had just come off. I don't know if this was right after the Atlanta loss, but it was around that time.
I think it was pretty close to the Atlanta loss because I remember I picked the Bills because I thought they would bounce back.
And I was just really enjoying the way that the Texans were playing football at this point. I thought that they were the better team. I thought they clearly they had the better defense, but the game did come down to the wire. But I did pick the Texans, which was good. And then I did not expect this, Kyle. I gotta be honest. My best pick of the year, and I don't like to do retrospect sort of things, but I think this was week 1. I picked the Raiders over the Patriots.
In
Foxborough. That's not something I expected. And I was really looking at this, and I'm like, am I really going to do a week 1 game as my best pick of the year? Because it's like, it's a crapshoot at that point. And I think there's a lot of good arguments for it just being, oh, you got lucky, or, you know, whatever, it's week 1. I think there is something to be said when you correctly pick the worst team in the National Football League on the road against a team that's literally playing in the Super Bowl, and you got it right. I think there's something to be said. So I think this is my best pick of the year. For what it's worth, the Patriots were only 2.5-point favorites, and I did pick bigger upsets than that. I think the biggest one this year I did get correct was the Texans over the Bills. I think this is better. I think it's a great story. I think it's better. So I put that as my best pick. So you can check out the whole list again. You can check out all the top 10s that I have. 10 worst picks. So I'll go with the top 3 here.
I think you're 2 and 1. I think I influenced you because I also had those picks against the spread.
Oh, well, that's different. But I think you were in agreement with number 1, which we'll get to.
I definitely was influenced.
Yeah. I had a couple of the honorable mentions. As I said, I picked the Commanders when they put up 0. I picked the Quinn Ewers-led Dolphins in his first career start. Again, I picked the Eagles, who were a 7-point favorite, but I was talking up the Bears that week. I chickened out. Number 3 came in week 5. I picked the Baltimore Ravens at home against the Houston Texans. The Texans won 44-10. So you're wondering, like, why? Why? They had a bad start to the year. No Lamar Jackson, no Roquan Smith, no Kyle Hamilton, no Marlon Humphrey, no Ronnie Staley, no Chidobe Awuzie, among other people. But those are the big names. Why did I? And the Texans are only 2-point favorites. But why did I pick the Ravens?
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Number 2, I picked the Cleveland Browns at home against the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers are getting 5 points. This was Shedeur Sanders' 3rd start of his career. There were 25-mile-an-hour winds in this game, suboptimal conditions. And this was versus a 49ers. This is week 13, by the way. So this is a 49ers team that had to keep pace with the Rams, with the Seahawks in the NFC West. this was just objectively a terrible pick and deserves to be on the list. And the number one worst pick that I had this year, I took the Tennessee Titans at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the same week. In week 13, Jaguars were getting 6.5 on the road. And I think this is bad for a number of reasons, just because objectively it's not a good pick. But this is the first time, Kyle, that I had picked Tennessee all year up until this point. And it's this game. Like, the Jaguars had won a number of games in a row at this point. I think they were on a 3-game winning streak at this point. The Titans were going in the opposite direction. They were well on a collision course to being eliminated in the coming weeks. This was definitely the worst pick I had all year. I think I was pretty confident in saying that this was the worst pick.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I influenced you in that pick because I know I picked the Titans cover spread, and I think I just told you that they're due. It's a divisional game. And honestly, like, the Titans kept it close in the first half, and then they died in the
They only put up 3 points. Like, that's the thing. Like that's the big takeaway, is that they only put up 3 points. They might have been close in the first half, but they just weren't close. They weren't close enough. All right, and finally, the 10 best games of the year. I do want to give all 10. I'm not going to give comments on all 10. If you have any comments, Kyle, just chime in. We'll reserve our comments for the top 5 here, I think. So we've got Week 16's game. What was it? The Bears win 22-16 in overtime. This was the DJ Moore heroics, which I considered not leaving this game off because it was a really boring game up until like 5 minutes left. But I mean, great comeback.
No, the comeback was goated. I think when there was a holding call against, I was watching this at my friend Aaron, friend of the pod, his parents' house, because I went to go see the Eagles Commanders game on that Saturday, and we were watching with his brother, and his brother was like, if there's something, if like this is holding call or whatever holds, then like the Bears could win this game, and then they did. It was sick.
Did you bet it? Did you live bet it?
Yes, I did. I just live bet the Bears.
Number 9, I've got the Week 8 matchup between the New York Jets and the Cincinnati Bengals. The Jets get their first win of the season, 39-38. Great game.
That was a crazy game.
Number 8, Week 9. Again, the Bengals. This time they're losing again to the Chicago Bears, 47-42. 28 points scored in the final 5 minutes of this game. Phenomenal. Week 14, number 7. The Bengals again losing on the road to the Buffalo Bills, 39-34. This was the snow game. This was the Christian Benford pick 6 game that kind of flipped the whole tide of this game in the fourth quarter. Number 6, Kyle. This one hits home.
Go game. This is my number 1.
The Eagles beat the Rams 33-26. Tale of 2 halves, obviously. Rams blew out the Eagles in the first half. Eagles mount a crazy comeback with some awesome special teams play. I don't know. This
was the greatest game. One of the greatest games I've ever watched, ever witnessed with my eyes.
I think
that was incredible. I don't think I'll ever go to a game that's not playoffs. That will.
I was gonna say non-playoff. This is probably your peak, right?
Non-playoff game number 1, even debatably with playoff games.
Well, this definitely beats.
I think the only game I think that I've been in attendance that can beat that game is the NFC Championship, with the hindsight that they would go on to win this.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I still think mine is probably the Rams game from last year.
That game was crazy. That probably would be my number 1.
Well, I think this definitely trumps the playoff game we went to. Right, because they lost.
We went to both.
Yeah, this year.
Jesus.
But that, I mean, honestly, like, you could put that maybe over the one we went to in 22, the divisional round game against the Giants. Because, like, objectively, that wasn't a good game. I know it was a playoff game, but, like,
I think it was better than the Eagles-Packers.
Yeah, and even that, I would consider putting it over that, too.
I think the NFC Championship is the only game that I've been in person to witness that would say it's definitively better than this, and that's also mainly because of the context around it.
All right, number 5. This is the Week 7 matchup between the Denver Broncos and the New York Giants. The Broncos shut out through 3 quarters. They scored 33 in the fourth quarter alone, and they beat the Giants 33-32. This was a crazy game. This had to be on the list somewhere.
Yeah, this was an insane comeback. The Broncos killed the Giants in this game. Giants didn't win a game, I think, until December. till like late December.
This game just demoralized.
So yeah, killed the Giants.
Another game that killed the Giants was the number 4 best game of the year from week 2. This was the Cowboys beating the Giants 40-37 in overtime. I mean, this one was for a number of reasons. I think there was like 800 passing yards between Russ and Dak in this game. It was something crazy like that. I think Russ had what?
Yeah, Wandale Robinson.
Yeah, Rondell.
He had his career high.
Malik Neighbors went off too. There was a ton of points. There were just bombs galore at the end of this game. Brandon Aubrey, 5 field goals, including a 63-yarder. And I think he had another 60-yarder in overtime or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
This was a crazy game. And I know the stakes weren't very high in these games, but objectively, I mean, this was so much better than a lot of the games. I think like 7 through... Yeah, I'll say 7 through 4 you could probably reposition in a lot of different ways. But I really think
Chip 6 could be number 1.
I'll get into the top 3 because I really think you could put these 3 in any order too. So number 3, I have the Week 16 matchup between the Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. This is a 38-37 victory in overtime for the Seahawks. I think the
Seahawks the 1 seed.
This was seed defining in the NFC, right? This essentially gave the Seahawks the leg up on the 1 seed. Pretty much, sold it for them. Pretty much secured it for them.
Other than that, yeah.
I mean, you had highlight after highlight in this game. I think the only thing that kept me from putting this game at number 1 was the botched officiating, which just left a sour taste in my mouth a little bit. I can't quite recall. I know there was the 2-point conversion, which was like totally just.
I agree.
It was totally just not. There was a lot of nonsense in this game. I remember. I have to go back and look at my notes, but there was a lot of nonsense in this game. But objectively, this was one of the best games this year. It had to be up there. Number 2, which I didn't think was going to be that high, but like after rewatch, I watched a little bit of the highlights in this game. Oh my God, the Week 1 matchup between the Bills and the Ravens ended in a 41-40 victory for the Bills. This was just a crazy. I mean, the pace of the game was great. There was not a lot of penalties in this game. It was constant scoring. It felt like
it was
a bona fide chess match. I think it was like 7 or 8 lead changes in this game. This was just objectively a great football game. But I think there was one more that was better, and that was the Week 17 game between the 49ers and the Chicago Bears. 42-38. The 49ers, and I actually think I'm looking at this now. Oh, no, I do. Okay. I thought I had indicated that I picked the 49ers.
No, it's touchdown. There's all scoring.
Yeah, it was like there was like all scoring. I was looking at the recap, and I thought I had indicated that I picked the 49ers.
I don't think there was any punts.
I don't remember if there were any punts. I just remember this fourth quarter being absolutely just Bobo's crazy. Like the Bears almost had a crazy comeback. There was just a ton of scoring.
It was the first game. It was the first game ever that was tied 0-0, 7-7, 14-14, 21-21, 28-28, 35-35.
Yeah, and then they just came short. There was
the first game ever. It was back and forth. The definition of a back and forth.
And like I loved it was like watching Ali and Frazier, dude. It was just like changing, like as you said, it's like back and forth the entire game. There were so many highlights in this game too, like the amount of just insane plays. Like I know that there was I can't recall because I've been so busy putting this shit together that I actually haven't had time to look at it. But I know this was crazy because I looked back at my notes and I was like highlight after highlight after highlight. I think this is objectively the best game of the year. I really do. So with that said, I think you could put these top 3 in any order, but I think at the end of the day, I had to make a decision. That's going to be my best pick. So yeah, a year in review. We're going to continue here though, because I'm going to turn it over to Kyle, because Kyle, you've got some analysis.
Here we go.
Of your own.
So my parts of the award show. KBT's analysis. Back. Let's move on. Next.
So
one
preface on this. So last year we put together an analysis for the T's, right? We did very well last year.
We don't need talking about
Kyle,
that.
I said, what do you want me to do for the T's analysis this year? He just goes, just put bad. So that's what I did. That's what I did. We'll regroup.
Yeah, we went one for 20.
We will regroup. We will come back better. We're gonna go over some organizational restructuring in the offseason. All right. We'll be back.
Yeah. Yeah. Here we go. Next, Tua Turn-the-ball of the week. You can look at that post to see all the winners.
This is awesome.
But inspired by the Hall of Fame, the Tua Turn-the-ball of the Year, a very prestigious award, has been decided by an anonymous committee. The selection process is very clear to me as head of the Tua Turn-the-ball-Over committee. But that's about it. Me and Tua are very proud leaders of this award. God. And we asked everybody, and we have our nominees for the Tua Turn-the-ball-Over turnover.
Drum roll, please.
We gather the nominee list. Nominee number 1, week 4, Adonai Mitchell, with his fumble touchback, kind of maybe inspired the award because it was the first award winner outside of Tua. It's the first time I announced an award winner. And I just retroactively gave.
I don't think that's bad because I don't think if you could have found the better turnover, you can't retroactively go back and say. But like it's Tua, like he's got to be on there somehow.
It's Tua, yeah, he's got to be on there. It's his award. The next nominee, Cardinal safety Darian Thomas Demerson against the Titans, the game that ruined the KBTs. Tua, he intercepted it, fumbled it, but was recovered in the end zone for a touchdown for the Titans. Allowed the Titans to won a crazy game. Surprised that I wasn't in the top 10. Mainly probably because nobody cares about the Cardinals and the Titans.
Also screwed the team.
Nominee. Next nominee. Actually, that actually helped me a lot for my survivor pool, but we don't need to talk about that. Next is week 7, Cam Ward. Getting basically scared into fumbling, which was recovered by the Patriots for a touchdown. Very funny. Next one, week 13, Max Brosner, pick 6 against another Super Bowl team, the Seattle Seahawks. Very bad. The game was tied, I think 0-0 or 3-3. And then obviously they got a pick 6 and the Seahawks.
I just want to say, objectively, I think this is the funniest one. Objectively, just the way the play ran, and like the announcer was like, "Oh no, what are you doing, Max?"
Next nominee, week 4, Jalen Hurts with the first ever recorded double turnover with an interception and a fumble on the same play. We don't need to talk about that one that much. Week 17, Malik Willis with a snap that he didn't even realize was coming at him. The ball, I'll reenact it real quick. He's like, "Oh, where's the ball?" He got CTE as the ball snapped him. That was crazy. Number week 18, Max Brosner, who didn't realize that the plays are still live even if you fall to the ground without being touched. He did like a little forward somersault and then was like, "Oh, I guess I'm done." Boom!
Nailed.
Fumbles recovered by the Packers. Actually, that's one of the few Tua Turn-the-ball-over week winners that still won the game. Fun fact.
That's interesting.
Divisional round, Josh Allen with his turnovers, particularly the fumble at the end of the half that cost them 3 points. And guess how much they lost by 3 points.
This one objectively was the most costly, by far.
So we have our nominees: Adonai Mitchell, Darian Taylor Demerson, Cam Ward, Max Brosner, Jalen Hurts, Malik Willis, and Josh Allen. And Matt, give me a drum roll, please. The Tua Turn-the-ball-over for the year of the 2025 season is Matt Brosner.
Wait, which one?
Both.
Oh, he won both?
He got the most collective votes. And the committee, he's the winner.
Now,
the only guy besides Tua to get nominated multiple weeks, insanity. I guess
so wait, does it matter?
Week 16, we were kind of lazy.
Did you take into consideration that he was nominated multiple weeks?
Just like the Hall of Fame voting, it's kind of mysterious and unclear. And it's an anonymous committee. And I'm just saying he received the most votes, so he's the winner.
Really sticking it to the NFL this week.
He's the winner. But you don't know why Bill Belichick didn't get in the Hall of Fame. We won't know exactly when Max Brosner won the award, but I think he's very deserving of the award.
I would not disagree with you. I would not disagree with you.
I'm sure there's a chance he might not ever play snap in the NFL again, but he will always have this. He will always have the Tua Turn-the-ball-over of the Year award for the year 2025.
I think so. The actual NFL honors are tomorrow. I'm probably going to make my post on Friday. I think I should just sneak Max Brosner in there and just see if anybody.
Put Max Brosner in there.
Week 13
Tua Turn-the-ball-over
Max
of the year
for both. Tua turned the ball over. So he's our. So I guess by default, right? Tua won it last year. I guess.
Tua's won it every year he's been in the NFL, except for now.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he's not the starter anymore.
Well, I'm saying because like going forward, is this the first annual or is like this the second annual?
I'm saying this is the first annual. Okay. Like then it's like it's like Lombardi. Like did Vince Lombardi ever win a Lombardi trophy? Was it called the Lombardi trophy when he won?
That's actually a good question. I don't know.
That's a
great question. I'll have to look that up. I'm gonna look that up after the show.
Well, anyway, the other part of my awards, I went back and listened to our first pod before the season, doing a little recap on how we did. So I have basically I'm going to do some highlights for them and do our best and worst in terms of predictions for the AFC, NFC, and then the awards. So for the AFC, we'll start out division winners. We only got one division winner right. And by we, I mean me, with the Jaguars winning the AFC South, which is Kyle's prediction going into the 2026 season award. You get anybody else right? No, for AFC.
Okay.
So the best thing, that's my best pick award for the AFC. I went 1-4 for the division winners. You went 0-4. We both went 4-7 for the playoffs.
Okay.
Matt, your best pick for the AFC going into the season was picking the Patriots to make the playoffs.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure I got one of these wild card teams. Well, they weren't a wild card team, but I'm pretty sure I got one of these teams right that shouldn't.
You had them as a wild card team, but you didn't.
Well, of course I had the Bills winning.
So we both had 4-7. We both went 4-7 picking playoff teams. Obviously, I think my worst. I didn't really have that many bad picks for the AFC, to be honest, in hindsight. So I just went with the Kansas City wins the West because I did talk that I really wanted to pick somebody else, but I was too chicken to do it.
This up.
So that bothered me. Because I remember I liked the Broncos a lot and I liked the Chargers a lot.
Did you have Denver in the playoffs?
Yes, I had both the Chargers and the Broncos. So
who's your other one?
The Bills and the Jags. Those were my 4 playoff teams that were
Bills. Oh, so you didn't have New England. Oh, you did not have New England. Okay, all right. In the playoffs. That's what I was trying to figure out. Yeah,
your 4 teams, I believe, off the top of my head, were the Bills, the Patriots, the Texans, and the Broncos.
Okay. Wow, I didn't have. Who am I missing? Yeah, I didn't have Jacksonville. I'm not surprised about that. I didn't have the Chargers.
You didn't have Jacksonville. You didn't have the Steelers. I didn't
have the Steelers. That's right. Yeah, because I knew there was only one. I think I had Cincinnati. I'm like fairly confident I had Cincinnati. Yeah.
You had Cincinnati and Ravens, who both
naturally. Yeek.
Yes. And then your worst pick for the AFC was that the Bengals win the AFC North and make the AFC Championship. Not a good look at me.
That sucks. You know what's surprising about that is that they went 6-11 this year, and I only picked them throughout the course of the year 7 times. So like I caught on to it. I knew that they weren't going to be good.
Well, Burrow got hurt.
Yeah, all right, fair enough. So I guess that's kind of a wash, but it's still a bad pick. Objectively, still bad.
So then NFC, both of us only had one division pick winner right, which was the Eagles, obviously.
Wow.
I went 4 for 7 picking playoff teams. You went 5 for 7.
All right, not bad.
That's pretty good. The best pick, honestly, we really didn't have any outstanding picks, so I just didn't really give an award for this. I just put meh. Obviously, Kyle's worst pick was that the Cardinals would win the NFC West. Objectively, probably my worst prediction overall. That's probably
worst pick in a while.
Yeah, and then Matt, you didn't really have a bad one, but I did say the Lions making the NFC Championship.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad, considering they didn't make the playoffs.
Both our Super Bowl picks this year were wrong. We both had Eagles over Bills, which did not happen. Very sad. So now on to the awards. On the awards, I will say we did get a couple of these right, so I'm very impressed. I'm going based on Cal sheet, like the odds, because the votes have already been cast. So I'm assuming usually those prediction markets, like I don't know if you've ever looked at them, but they're pretty accurate.
Use Cal sheet.
Like when it comes to like that the stuff's kind of real.
I don't use Cal sheet only because
that's what I used for like the presidential election stuff. Like once it got halfway through, I was like, oh, okay.
I think it's a hoax. I don't trust Cal sheet. I don't know why.
I'm never gonna put money in it, but like I trust it at the point.
It's definitely a good.
Obviously, like you can't even bet on.
I think it's definitely a good huge public
I will
point
say
of view.
like all the odds. It's like I don't even really know how it works, but it's like 99 cents versus 1 cent. I guess 99% versus 1% for a lot of these awards, except for like a couple of them. But like either way, like it's 80% or higher that these guys are.
So it's like shares, Kyle.
So I'm gonna tell you,
it's like you can buy shares. So it's like 90. So whatever the 99%, it's like 99% of people think this guy's gonna win, and then the 1% is everyone else.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So here we go. We're gonna start with how we started this podcast. Offensive Rookie of the Year. This one right now the favorite to win the award according to Kyle Sheet is Tedero McMillan, which Matt had.
I told y'all.
Tedero McMillan to win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and it looks like he's going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. It looks like your love for the Panthers
in some capacity. In some capacity, it paid off.
I wish I looked up like what the odds were at the time, but
the only award I'm sad to say that I bet on was MVP, and I bet Joe Burrow. So like.
Yeah. So no,
I know. Unfortunately,
Offensive Rookie of the Year for me was Aaron Hampton, who
wasn't a bad pick.
His rookie year was
considering he got hurt. Considering he got hurt, I don't think that was bad.
Okay, Defensive Rookie of the Year, we both went with the odds-on favorite, Abdul Carter. I think the winner is going to be Carl Schwarzenberg, the linebacker from
Cleveland. Yeah,
Cleveland.
I think there's another.
Yeah, I like what's his name from Seattle too, but like Nicky Minori, he's like the
I
long
think
shot,
it could still be
but
Nicky
it's probably be one of
them. I think he's probably been the best on. I mean, look, I think Schwarzenegger has probably had better stats.
That's not a good team.
I think Schwarzenegger's probably had better stats. He's completely deserving of the award. I think the best player from this draft, at least like this year, most impactful for sure, has definitely been Nicky Minori.
Yeah, he's been very good. But we both had Abdul Carter. Offensive Player of the Year. I think the odds-on favorite right now is JSN. We did both have receivers, so I guess that makes sense. You had Jamar Chase.
Obviously.
Solid pick. Fortunately, Burrow got hurt. And then I had Brian Thomas Jr., which you could argue is even worse than my than my Cardinals winning game.
That's up there. That's up there. No, I don't think it's quite as bad. I don't think it's quite as bad. Because at least
Defensive Player of the Year.
I was gonna say I
Defensive Player of the Year. Well, this was obviously because I was high on the Jags, which was correct, but not because of Brian Thompson.
Correct. Right. I can at least see where you were coming from with that pick. Cardinals, not so much.
Here we go. Defensive Player of the Year. Right now, obviously, Myles Garrett's gonna win because he's the sack record. You had Micah Parsons, and we recorded the podcast prior to the trade. And I like saying during the commentary, you thought Jerry was going to make a deal, and I was very adamant.
No, I knew that.
I will say that. I
had seen it before where he does this thing where it's either he signs the guy like the day of, or he gets traded. And Micah was very adamant about, I don't want to play in Dallas. Like, Dak never said that. CeeDee Lamb never said that. I'm sure historically, if I looked it up, I could find it.
Yeah, but you thought he was still going to get signed.
Yeah, but he was going to get traded. And I said, depending on who he gets traded to, he could easily be Defensive Rookie of the Year. Or Defensive Player of the Year.
No, you said look at if you watch the podcast, Matt. You say that he is going to sign with Dallas and win Defensive Player of the Year.
I said with Dallas.
You did.
Oh, interesting.
Huh. Yeah. And then I said, you're crazy. He's not going to be.
I thought you just said the other way around.
No. You weren't listening to me.
So you thought he was going to get traded.
Open your ears. I thought he was going to get traded. You were like, no, he's going to win Defensive Player of the Year.
That's probably where I was coming from. Because I was like, Jerry always gets the deal done like the day of. That's probably why. And I remember telling you, I was like, Kyle, you're not going to like this pick. I'm like, this is going to be Micah.
Yeah, and I was like, I could never pick him. He's Dallas.
Well.
And then I picked Adrian Hutchinson. I had Jalen Carter as an honorable mention, which I just said because I'm a homer. The funny thing about this, though, is I said that Adrian Hutchinson's going to take the torch away from older players such as Aiden, such as Myles Garrett.
Ooh.
Which that sounds...
Miles heard you, bro. Miles heard you.
Yeah. Comeback Player of the Year. This was the one award I didn't bet. And it's the one award I got correct. I had Christian McCaffrey winning Comeback Player of the Year, and he's currently the odds-on favorite.
I have no idea who I had.
You had Trevor Lawrence, who's currently
all right. So I did pretty good with that.
So we did
I
both
did
pretty
pretty good
solid
with
there.
that. All right. I can at least sleep easy at night.
Coach of the year, honestly, one of the toughest
this was
awards you
tough.
could say even now. Right now, the odds-on favorite is Mike Vrabel.
Yeah. All right. So that was the other one I had, and I don't know if you have this written down or not, but I'm fairly certain I probably rattled off like 5 or 6 guys, knowing me.
No, you just said Mike Vrabel, and that you think that and I quote, if he gets Drake May to take the next step and go to the playoffs, he is more than deserving of Coach of the Year.
I'm a great football mind. That's a great take.
You give a Drake May his glaze.
I did the glaze before Ben even thought about it. Who I had a conversation with Ben this past week.
Actually, Ben did have top 10. I think he had Drake May listed as a top 10 quarterback.
Well, of course he did. He's a Patriots fan. You can't trust him.
Yeah. I had Liam Cohen, but I also gave Ben Johnson
Liam
honorable
Cohen's
mention.
Got to be what?
Because I thought Liam Cohen wouldn't be because of the market, and I think that's still correct. Yeah. But I did say Ben Johnson honorable mention, and then Mike Vrabel is the favorite. I think Mike McDonald is the number 2.
Wow, Cohen's not even number 2. So what's Cohen? Like 3?
Probably 3. Or maybe 4 even for Ben Johnson.
Oh, yeah. But there were so many good candidates this year. When you think about it, like there were a lot of good stories. Honestly, if Vrabel wins, the vote's already cast. Like this is a mute point now. So I was gonna say,
Vrabel's
if he wins the Patriots win the Super Bowl, but yeah, it doesn't matter because the vote's already cast. I don't know. I think there's 3 or 4 guys you could give the award to personally, but I got it right.
No, the Coach of the Year race was definitely the tightest of all the races.
For sure.
Yeah. So we got MVP right now. The odds-on favorite is Matthew Stafford. Both of us did not have Matthew Stafford. I had Josh Allen, who was a nominee. Closer, I will say. I also had Jaden Daniels for some reason as like an honorable mention, along with Trevor Lawrence, who was a nominee. And then you already mentioned it, but you had Joe Burrow.
So like I had Burrow. I was really high on. I was very high on the Bengals going into this year, and I'll stand by that. Like it was boom or bust for them. They looked good. They looked pretty good early on until Joe Burrow got freaking hurt. So I don't know. I think I was whatchamacallit? I was like distracted by all the shiny pieces they had on offense. Little too much.
So, I mean, but out of all the, but for how many? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 awards. I mean, there's the Protector of the Year award, which
there's another couple of ones. Like we only really picked the major ones.
Yeah, but the major awards out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 major awards between the two of us,
I think that's pretty good. I think that's
solid,
pretty good, and like even for the ones.
And we took swings too. It wasn't like we took the odd favorites every time. Not like the odd favorites.
I think the only odds-on favorite that we both took was Abdul Carter. I think that's the only odds-on favorite.
Mm-hmm.
McCaffrey might have been. I don't know if you looked that up like pre-year.
McCaffrey, I think probably was high.
He's probably on the list.
I know, like some of these guys that like were favorites just based on our discussions. I think O'Marion Hampton was pretty high. I think he was 2 or 3. Abdul Carter was number 1, obviously. Jamar Chase was very high.
Yeah,
he was top 3.
Too.
Aiden Hutchinson and Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was the favorite, I believe. Aiden Hutchinson was top 4, 3. McCaffrey was probably top 3. Vrabel was probably top 3. Cohen may have been a little higher. Josh Allen, I think, was probably the favorite. Yeah. Joe Burrow was probably also top 3. So I guess some of these were a little chalk, except for I guess Brian Thomas, but. And Tyler McMillan wasn't chalk,
so we did pretty good. I feel like our minds together we did pretty good.
3 out of 7 for these kind of awards. That's pretty good. So yeah, that's it. I would say out of all those, I'd say best pick for Matt was probably Federal McMillan, Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Told you all about that.
Best pick for me was Jags winning the NFC South, the AFC South. Worst pick for me was debatably either Brian Thomas Jr. for Offensive Player of the Year or Cardinals winning the I think it's Cardinals winning the NFC Considering all 3 teams.
Considering all 3 teams in the playoffs, and then one's in the Super Bowl, the other one was in the conference championship, and then the other one still won 12 games, and they won a road playoff game. And you picked the Cardinals that went 3-14.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
It happens.
And then I'd say probably your worst pick was.
I had a lot of bad picks.
I guess Micah Parsons with the argue that you were.
No, because Parsons was on his way to being depoy.
Probably the Bengals winning the AFC South.
I would
going all the way.
I
to
would
the
say
AFC
that.
Championship.
That was pretty bad. I mean, look, I can't control injuries, so it's like it's kind of a moot point. But at the same time, even if Joe Burrow does stay healthy, I'm fairly confident they don't go to the playoffs. Still, I'm fairly confident. Their problems this year extended well beyond the fact that they didn't have a quarterback for most of the year. I think it was a lot more than that.
Yeah.
So I'll bite the bullet on that one. Kyle, we got one more game. I think it's just starting to set in for me. I really do. Like, I really wasn't thinking about the Super Bowl this week up until like today. And well, I had my notes in order for the game and whatever, just to talk about it. And I've came to some conclusions, right? So I think that we need to have the discussion about who we're picking first and foremost. I am formally announcing that I will be picking the Seattle Seahawks in this year's Super Bowl.
Wow.
Who are you going with?
That's crazy.
Are you with me?
Yeah, I'm with you.
You're picking Seattle too.
I just placed it.
That's what you're doing, you sick bastard.
The New England Patriots.
Wow.
The Drake Glades.
You're actually going
$100 on the money line.
New England?
I'm going with the Patriots.
What?
Going with New England.
Oh my
God.
What, dude? I'm scratching my head.
That is my pick. And then I'm also putting $69 on tails for the tails.
That's stupid. You should put it on the color of the Gatorade. Save it. I'll tell you what it is.
Nah.
I'll let you know.
Last year, if you remember, we had the color of the Gatorade. We had the scoop. We had the inside scoop.
This year.
Do you have an inside scoop?
Don't worry.
Well, you're gonna have it now.
I don't have it now.
Scoop
I don't
going into
have
the
it now. I don't have
last
it now.
year. And then obviously everybody caught on, and the line moved by a lot.
I don't have it yet.
If you remember, I think I got it like plus like 400, and it ended up being like by time of kickoff, I think it was like minus 200. The Gatorade color, or like it lowered the odds by at least 50%.
I will let you know. I'll let you know. When I have the scoop, I'll let you know. I was just checking to see if I had it yet, but I don't.
I will say I'll start off by saying currently it's Seattle is the favorite, minus 4.5.
You're right.
The over under, which I low key like the under, but the over under right now is at 45.5. It opened at 46.
So it did go down.
Checking what it was. The lines open at minus 5 and 46.
So the lines barely moved, but the over-unders moved a point. That's not nothing.
Over-under moved by a point.
I don't think that's done either. I personally don't. So I guess I'll start off with the over-under just briefly. So Seattle is second in the league in points per game. New England's sixth in points per game. But Seattle and New England give up the least and second least amount of points per game. I don't know. I'm very on the fence about. I think I agree with you. I think I do like the under. I don't know if I'm gonna bet it per se because it's a really weird number. It's like right in the area of like 24 to 20 is what I'm thinking. Now, hear me out on the game, right? Am I crazy that I think Seattle could and maybe should blow out the Patriots?
No, I don't think so.
Who have the Patriots played all year? All right. It's been well established on this podcast, right? They are 1-2 versus teams above 500 this year. Two of those teams being the Bills, right? Which they split with. They played playoff CJ Stroud and playoff Justin Herbert. And then they got to play Jared Stidham in the AFC Conference Championship game. Who has this team been challenged by this year? Number one. Now, I'm not going to say it's easy to win 17 games in the National Football League because it absolutely is not easy to win 17 games in the National Football League. I'm not saying that. I'm just a little bit concerned, right? So Drake May at 23 years old, he could become the youngest starting quarterback to ever win the Super Bowl. I'm just a little concerned. I don't want to call them a flash in the pan because I don't think that's entirely accurate. I think they've been playing with house money this year. Something just itches the back of my head. It's like, I don't know. I get like my spidey sense is tingling almost, it feels like, with this Patriots team. I don't know. Well, all right, so you tell me, why are we going with New England? Because is there something I'm not seeing?
I think there is something you're not seeing. I think the Patriots, they're Mike Vrabel as a dog. Goated. I think he's like I wish I actually wrote down all these stats. A lot of them are just in my mind. But I think Vrabel's a dog. It's very good. The Patriots, they faced 3 top 5 defenses by, or I guess I think they've been top 10 by points, but I think they're top 5 by EPA per play. And in these playoffs so far, I think the Broncos are 1, and I think the Chargers for 5 and the Texans for 3. I think Seattle's 2. So they've been playing these tough defenses. They've been clutch in all of them. I will say that the Patriots, you could argue they didn't really play who have they played. It's not only who they played, but they've been blowing teams out. Like they blew out the Giants, they blew out the Jets, they blew out the Panthers. That was a playoff team. They blew out the Titans. They beat teams that they're supposed to beat. You can't knock somebody because of their schedule.
That's fair. You know? That's a fair point.
And that is a fair point. Another point to say, teams were the 1 seed versus a team that didn't have the bye. They are teams that are the 1 seed versus a team that didn't have the bye, like aka not the 1 seed, are I think 2-8 straight up in the last 10 Super Bowls where that happened. 2-8 or something similar. So that's an interesting little trend right there. Also, in the past, I think 10 Super Bowls, team where their spread was 4.5 points or more, the underdog has covered in every Super Bowl. And I think they've won straight up in all but like 2 in the past 10.
Interesting
stats right there. I think also that the Patriots, I just think that Drake May's got that clutch factor. I think the Patriots defense is more than anything is going to be really good. I don't know Seattle defensively wise. I don't really know if they played any.
One of the matchups I wanted to watch, and like this is one of the things I wanted to bring up on the show tonight specifically, was I want to see how Seattle's front 7 is versus New England's O-line. So I've been doing research, right, a little bit, because we've watched all the teams this year, but you gotta key in, right? So Seattle, what they like to do is disguise a lot of their blitzes. They have a very deep rotation on the line. They play a lot of guys, and I think, and look, I know it's O-line, you don't really rotate a lot of guys, but New England lacks a lot of depth on their O-line. They really do.
Since 2009, underdogs of 4 points or more are 4-0 straight up in the Super Bowl. That's the stat.
Look, it's definitely. So what were the 4 teams? It was the Eagles, because I know they were underdogs. It was, I think the Eagles were favorites last year.
I think the Giants when they played the Patriots in 2011.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. Look, the point is, and another point with the whole O-line thing, right? So the Patriots have given up 15 sacks this postseason. Yikes. That's a lot of sacks. Seattle gets after the ball. I think that they might have to change their style of play a little bit, right? Like I said, they do like to disguise a lot of things. I think you're going to have to get after Drake May a little quicker if you want him to like be off his game, right? Because I think one of the keys to the game for the Patriots should be, make sure that he's on time. Make sure he's on schedule with his throws. He has to avoid being sacked, right? As I said, he's been sacked a ton this postseason. They need to avoid 3rd and long if you're New England. Avoid 3rd and long. Stay on schedule.
Avoid 3rd and 6. What? Drake May's horrible on 3rd and 6. He's statistically the worst quarterback.
Specifically on 3rd and 6.
With at least 10 attempts on 3rd and 6. Yeah. Fun fact.
So, 3rd and long in general. I think the Patriots should be trying to avoid that as best they can, right? Because I don't think if you give Drake May a lot of time, I like Drake May when he's just get the ball, roll out, throw. Get the ball, step up, throw. Get the ball, check down, whatever, right? Stay on schedule. I think the more time you give Drake May, I actually think that's a detriment to him. Not to say that he's not really mobile or anything in the pocket. I just think that's going to play in the long run into Seattle's favor. I like Seattle's secondary. I think it's going to be a very intriguing matchup to see how the supporting cast around Drake May is going to support Drake May in this football game. I think that really the only guys you can rely on a lot are going to be Hunter Henry and Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs, obviously that veteran presence. I think he's been waiting for this, right? He's going to eat. He's been waiting for this for how many years now, right? This is an opportunity he might not ever get again.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hunter Henry, I just feel like he's been unreliable, right? He's been in New England for a number of years. He knows the system.
Seahawks statistically have been a bottom 10 defense against tight ends.
So that's another stat. So like
two big things that I like, two prop bets I like a lot, which I've already bet.
I'll tell you what, I do like Hunter Henry's yards.
I love Drake May's over rushing yards, and I love Hunter Henry's yards. And Hunter Henry being a touchdown.
I think Hunter Henry is going to go over on the yards. I do like that bet. Another interesting matchup, right? So now flipping from Patriots offense versus the Seattle defense. The Seattle offense versus the Patriots defense. I think this is very interesting, right? So Sam Darnold versus pressure. I think it's gonna be very interesting to see how he handles pressures. Obviously, you've been third in the league this year in interceptions. The Seahawks are gonna have to protect him here, right? They're gonna have to put him in situations where Darnold isn't holding onto the ball for very long. Again, it's kind of the same facet with Drake May, right? Stay on schedule, stay in rhythm, make sure he's avoiding these long downs. Like, don't really give him time to throw. I think the biggest matchup and what this is going to come down to for Seattle is JSN versus Carlton Davis on the outside, right? And I think it's very noteworthy.
What about Christian Gonzalez?
I know Christian Gonzalez. I know Christian Gonzalez, but we've seen Carlton Davis specifically struggle in these intermediate passing situations. So I'm interested to see, right, if it's going to be a lot of man from New England, if it's going to be a lot of zone from New England. I think that Seattle's going to have to get very creative with where they line JSA.
I think it's going to have to be zone. JSN.
That's the thing, right?
Feast on
That's
man.
the thing. Is you can't really put him in man. And so I feel like, they're probably, like, to your point, right? They're probably going to have Christian Gonzalez shadowing his side of the, at the very least, JSN's side of the field. But if you're going to be playing zone primarily for most of the game, you can't be flip-flopping your corners all the time, right? Because in that case, JSN might...
No, I think Christian Gonzalez is going to stay on one side of the field. He typically does that. But I think also, like, with JSN, they put all over the field.
They do.
So there's no point in confusing the defense by...
I disagree.
Christian Gonzalez
all right, Christian Gonzalez moving over. I think you're going to see a lot of pre-snap motion from JSN. I really do. Now, whether he's going to be like the great distraction, right? Kind of how Saquon was last year for the Chiefs, like, oh, look, and then everybody else feasts, could be the case this year. I think that could be a strategy. I mean, it clearly worked for the Eagles last year. Now, obviously, it's a little different, right, with the receiver being your primary threat on offense. I think you're going to see a lot of pre-snap motion from JSN in this game. I think, again, it is going to be very interesting to see how they line up Christian Gonzalez, how they line up with Carlton Davis. I think the intermediate passing game is going to play to Seattle's strength. I think you've seen a lot of deep action from Rashid Shaheed, and that's kind of been his strength this year. I think the 10 to 20-yard passes, I think that's where Seattle's going to live and die for this game specifically.
Yeah.
So, look, I think there are a lot of factors in this game. Now, is there a path to victory for the Patriots? Absolutely. It's the NFL. Any given Sunday. You don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen.
I think if the Patriots are able to keep this game close, I think that plays in their favor. I think Mike Vrabel has played excellent situational football. If you look at the Jared Stidham interception from the AFC Championship game, part of the reason why that happened was because the Broncos had a late substitution, and the Patriots were able to get their substitution in and kind of lollygagged it in such a perfect way while the clock was running, so that Jared Stidham felt forced to throw the ball. Like Mike Vrabel in situational football, that's where I think he feasts as a dog. And I like honestly, like it's like a similar thing. Like my brain's telling me like Seattle should win. They've been the better team all year, but there's something in my gut, man, that's telling me this is New England, man. That Drake May is the better quarterback. I think Sam Darnold. I don't know if he's proven all the doubters wrong, and I feel like I should be able to trust them, but I still don't, especially against Mike Vrabel. These are the ghosts that he faced the Patriots. I don't know. I think he's going to throw a turnover in this game. He's been kind of due. He hasn't done a turnover yet this playoffs.
He's been good. Look, Darnold's been
very
good. I don't
think he played that many tough defense in the playoffs. I think the Rams defense is kind of just mid, and I think the 49ers defense
non-existent.
Is like players off the street when they play down. So I think this is their first tough defense in a while. I think the Patriots have more experience in terms of like the organization going to Super Bowls. Mike Vrabel obviously played in a few Super Bowls. I think they have a couple players who have been in Super Bowls. The Seahawks really don't have anyone. Like Sam Darnold was saying during media night, being like, "Oh, like you realize you don't need to pack all your clothes because they're going to give you free stuff." Like they really don't have that many players that have been to the Super Bowl. And Mike Vrabel's a more experienced coach than Mike Macdonald, even though Macdonald's obviously been a great coach. I just
Hey, look, if you got a feeling, I can't knock you for jumping on that. You had a feeling about Cooper DeJean. You had a premonition about Cooper DeJean last year, and that won you oodles of money. So, like, by all means, if you have a feeling, pick them. And I do want to touch on one point that you made, because I do really agree with that. This New England Patriots team is so well disciplined. From a year one coach, they don't make a lot of mistakes. They are very well coached, and situationally, right? I think they've been one of the best situational teams this year in general. That
Seattle had almost
that would not happen. That's not happening. You're right.
And New England, I can see forcing that. To be honest.
I don't disagree with you there. I think situationally and just like trained mentally wise, they are one of the best units in football this year. I think, look, and like, to your point, right, the whole Darnold versus May argument, yeah, I do think May obviously has the leg up on Sam Darnold. Now, Sam Darnold been very, as you pointed out, also very good this postseason. Hasn't turned it over yet. He's been very, very good. He hasn't put himself, like, McDonald hasn't really put him in situations where he's not going to succeed. I just think top to bottom, the Seattle Seahawks team is that much better. I really do. Every statistical factor out there is pointing me to Seattle. And that's why I kind of mentioned, I was like, is it crazy that the Seahawks team could blow them out? I think that's more likely than the shoe being on the other foot. I am not discounting.
No,
I don't think they're blowing out Seattle. I don't see a situation where that's going to happen. But to your point, this New England team is going to give them all their ground. I think we're in for a really good game. I really do. I think if I had to go gun to my head on the record, I'm saying, like, I would say like 27-21, 24-20, something like that in favor of Seattle. I think it's going to be a very close game. I think there's not going to be a lot of points in the first half. I think first half under might be a good bet here until these teams start to feel each other out a little bit and try to get a feel for how the game flow is going. I think we're going to see,
I might bet first possessions are
I think
first two possessions do not result in scores.
I wouldn't put that past you. So overall, I'm probably in the ballpark of like 24-20 Seattle. So I guess that would mean New England covers the 4.5. I think New England ultimately does.
My score is 24-20.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be very close. I think either way, it's going to be a very close game. Again, obviously, this Super Bowl Sunday. 6:30 NBC. NBC? Okay, NBC. 6:30 on NBC in Santa Clara, California. The New England Patriots. And also east to west. They got to go all the way across the country. But they've been there for a while. I feel like that doesn't really... They've been there for a whole week. I feel like that doesn't really matter when you're there.
Actually, teams winning going east versus a team going west, which technically Seattle's going west because Seattle's a little more west than San Fran. Team traveling east in the past 20 Super Bowls, they all won.
Wow, there you go.
Versus the team that's traveling west, a team that's traveling west versus a team traveling east.
Right.
Like East Coast versus the West Coast.
We'll see. All right, let's wrap up here, Kyle.
Plays in the favor for New England.
No, you said traveling west.
No, I messed up. The team from the east traveling west has won every time versus a team traveling from west to east.
Right. Oh, okay.
In the past,
so that I misinterpreted.
Super Bowls or whatever, that's happened. Like last year, for example, like the Eagles traveled west to New Orleans, and then they.
Oh no, they traveled west. Yeah. So you had it right. Yeah. I misinterpreted.
You had it wrong. You don't know your
No. I thought you meant the more west team. As opposed to the West team traveling east. I thought you said the more West team is the winner.
No, the more East team. The more East team travels west.
Gotcha. That just hurt my head. All right, Kyle, you got one more thing? Because
I do. The FC, just kidding. That is not one more thing.
I was going to say.
One more thing. It's Fanatics. It's a garbage company.
Oh, I've known this for years.
Absolutely garbage. If you've seen on Twitter, they haven't screwed me recently. They have screwed me many a times. But you've seen on Twitter that people are complaining about the Super Bowl jerseys, how they don't have the actual colors. The patches are all messed up.
I believe it.
So Fanatics came out with a
statement. They addressed it?
Trying to justify. They addressed it. And their explanation for why the jerseys are not the right colors and they're messing up and that there's not a lot of stock is because, and I quote, that both these teams, Seattle and New England, did not make the playoffs last year, so we were not expecting their fan base to be as rabid as they are to get Super Bowl merch because they didn't get enough stuff because they didn't expect them to make the Super Bowl.
That's the worst excuse. They said they
Sorry, they did
oh
say,
my god,
wait, I can
dude!
pull up the actual
NFL
tweet.
needs to drop them ASAP, dude.
Oh,
that
man.
is
It's a monopoly.
that is
It's a monopoly.
so bad. And their stuff comes from China. It's all wholesale stuff. By the way, if you guys buy from Fanatics, you can just literally buy from China wholesale. It's the same quality. It really is. And the China, if you get it directly from the wholesaler, it'll cost you like 5 times less. It's the same shit. It really is. I've been doing it for years. I have a big jersey collection, as Kyle knows. I have like 70 plus jerseys, like NFL jerseys, and most of them come from China, like directly from the wholesalers. If I want to get like a nice quality, like stitched jersey, I'll sometimes shell out for like the real thing, but that's only if it's like stitched, if it's some like Mitchell and Ness. I sometimes go through Fanatics, but I don't like going through Fanatics. And as Kyle said, they've screwed a lot of people recently.
Yeah, it's a real matchup. That's great. This is from Fanatics Twitter, and I hope. We've seen your jersey feedback. We take it very seriously. We let Patriots and Seahawks fans down with product accessibility. We own that, and we are sorry. This Super Bowl matchup has created an unprecedented challenge for us because of the massive surge in demand we saw from Patriots and Seahawks fans. Both teams went missing from the playoffs last season to being in the Super Bowl, an incredibly rare occurrence that has led to fan bases buying more jerseys since Thanksgiving versus last year. Even though we ordered substantially more jerseys for these teams than ever before, we struggled to meet demand to keep jersey colors in stock, which we know is your expectation. As sports fans, we understand your frustration and will work tirelessly to do better.
It's just so bad. I mean, if that's not the nail in the coffin for Fanatics, and you're probably right, it won't be because it's a monopoly.
It won't be because it's a monopoly.
So my one more thing, Kyle. Best foods to have at your Super Bowl party. You will be hosting. I will be attending. Which, by the way, you never texted me back if you wanted me to bring anything.
Oh,
I figured what had happened because when you said LOL okay to whatever I said earlier, I think it was like remember suits and ties. I had sent a message simultaneously, and I figured you said okay and then just close your phone. That's what I figured happened, and I forgot to emphasize it. But you let me know in your own time. Anyway,
I was gonna probably say something maybe like when we can talk about here.
Top things or top foods or whatever must-haves at your Super Bowl party, right? I'm talking. So I don't have a definitive top 5. I do have 5 things that are in my top 5 though that I think should be there. Number 1, pigs in a blanket. I think that's a staple, right? And I think the big thing for pigs in a blanket is too like, when do you ever have pigs in a blanket when it's not football related? I feel like I exclusively have pigs in a blanket either like Thanksgiving or if I'm watching football. You know. Number 2, I think chips and dip have to be on there. Whatever. I know that will be there because that's your specialty. Yeah, you have the specialty dip, specialty chips, buff chip dip. Obviously one of my favorites. Obviously one of your favorites. That's gotta be there. Number 3 seems kind of obvious, but you have to have beer. Some sort of beer has to be some sort of beer there.
I love beer. Go beer.
Number 4, I think I guess you could lump this in with the dips because I was gonna say guacamole. I don't really think of like guac is obviously a dip, right? But I feel like it's its own.
No, guac
it's like its own.
It's
like its own dip, right? So like guac, you could do at a number of occasions, right? You could do for a number of things, but I feel like guacamole, a good guac and football, I feel like is really really good up there.
Or nothing. I don't think you needed any of it.
You don't like guac? Oh, you don't like guac?
Oh, that sucks.
Terrible, man. You get out of here. You get out of here.
Guac's as bad as my Cardinals prediction.
Oh, dude. Don't shit on guac. I make a mean guacamole.
That's my opinion.
All right, you know what I'm bringing? I'm bringing guacamole.
Yeah, bring guacamole.
Yeah. So you can have that. And I think this one is pretty self-explanatory. Number 5, buffalo wings. Gotta have some buffalo wings. On the bone.
Ooh.
On the bone. Naturally, on the bone. Yeah, wait, I saw that. We'll talk after, but don't look. Don't tell me. Buffalo wings. I think you have to have buffalo wings. Some sort of wing. I prefer buffalo.
But if not, I mean, some sort of wing. You have to have some wings. So wings, guac, beer, I guess buff chick dip you could do, and then pigs in a blanket. Those are my top five best food items at the Super Bowl. All right, Kyle, come on. We got like 2 minutes left. Let's focus in. So this is the penultimate show. We've got one more show left for you guys this year. Next Tuesday, that would be February 10th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on YouTube, on Spotify the next day. This will be on Spotify probably tonight.
So he was right.
I know. So we've got a little competition now.
This is the first time we disagreed in the Super Bowl.
Well, definitely because last year we both had the Eagles on the podcast. But I think even historically, I feel like we've agreed on a lot of the Super Bowl picks. I'm
trying to think because So I know last year obviously we're the same. I did have the 49ers.
Okay. So there we go. We disagree. I've gotten every Super Bowl right. I think the only since I've been doing picks. The only Super Bowl I got wrong was the Eagles in 2022. It was the only time I've gotten the Super Bowl wrong. I think I've gotten the.
Since I care about football, which was the Eagle. I guess the first Super Bowl. I guess I didn't really care, but whatever. Since I started actually caring about football, I think I got every Super Bowl right from the first Super Bowl I started caring, which was right
that
after.
Was the Patriots and Rams.
That was the
third team.
Patriots. No, it was Patriots Seahawks.
No. After the Eagles won.
No, but I started caring. When I started tracking my predictions, it was what was the Patriots? I guess I don't know. The Patriots Seahawks won because I picked the Patriots.
That was the
first Patriots Seahawks. That was 10 years ago.
That was 2016.
That was Super Bowl 48 or Super Bowl 49. Super Bowl 49. So Super Bowl 49 to 51 was Patriots Falcons.
Oh, yeah. So then...
Super Bowl 49,
49
to Super Bowl 55. I got all those Super Bowls right. The Rams, from Rams Bengals to before last year, I got them all wrong. Last year I got right, so we're on the track.
So because you're streaky, that's where your heart lies.
I'm very streaky, so we're about to enter another streak.
Fair enough. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty confident.
Also, every time the Eagles have won the Super Bowl, the Patriots have won the following year.
Oh my God.
Against an NFC West.
Oh my God. Wait a minute. You're right. What?
Oh.
What the hell? What the helly? Well, I mean, it's only a two sample size, but that would be.
Wait.
That would be pretty crazy, though. That is a pretty crazy coincidence, though, I will say.
Wait, I might have an even better coincidence. I just want to double check this is correct before I say something.
All right, while Kyle's looking that thing up, we got one more show left. So it'll be February 10th. That'll be our Super Bowl show. / I guess I don't know what we did last year. I'll have to take a look and see what we did last year. But we'll have. I mean, obviously we're gonna talk mostly about the game. So we'll talk about some news. We'll talk about whatever's going on.
Oh, you could every time the Eagles have been in the Super Bowl, since Jeffrey Lurie has owned the team, either the Patriots have won the Super Bowl or an NFC West team has lost the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and then the next year was the Patriots won.
And then when the Patriots beat the Eagles in 2005, the next year the Steelers beat.
Yeah, Seattle you're right. You're right. They beat the Seahawks. Interesting.
But I have to say the Jeffrey Lurie era because, if you go to the Super Bowl, the Raiders beat the Eagles. Then the following season, I believe the 49ers beat the Bengals. So that trend doesn't count. But it's a trend.
Flawed.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's flawed.
You can say the same
All
thing.
right. We'll leave you on that. Get your picks in. I'll be posting some stuff throughout the week. I'm gonna post the
Drake May rushing
yards. Yeah, you got that. I'm gonna be posting some award stuff.
Hunter Henry receiving yards.
Like
Tails for the coin toss. What's your Gatorade?
Well,
no Gatorade. You have
let
to
you
give
know
it.
What the Gatorade is.
You have to let the viewers know.
I'll know. When I know, everybody will know, and then the whole world will know, and then the world will know.
But yeah, I'll post some picks. So we got obviously I'll be posting Sunday for the game, and then the eventual champion and MVP. I'll be posting the awards probably Friday if I don't get around to doing it after the award shows concluded on. I think it was pretty late. It's like 11 o'clock. I've been going to bed early, but I'll get that up eventually. So that'll be up. Probably not doing a promo pick this year. I generally do not have the time. But I'll be posting some stuff. Hey, the picks will be cool. The picks will always be cool. So be on the lookout for that. We got one more show, as I said, Tuesday, February 10th, live on YouTube at 7:30. And then we're hitting the off season, guys. And we're gonna put a bow on this season. It's gonna be a big, beautiful bow. I can't wait for it. Kyle can't wait for it. Thank you again for hanging out with us tonight and going over our little recap / award show. We'll be back next Tuesday for one more show. I'm rooting for the Seahawks. Kyle, you're going go Patriots.
Going
wherever you are.
Blades,
Have
baby.
a
That will be on the podcast, not for limited time if the Patriots do win the Super Bowl.
That's fair. We'll see it. All right, everybody. Enjoy your rest of your Wednesday night, and we'll be back next Tuesday. Peace out.